Coming off last weekend down in LA, obviously we had a tough time defending both teams. Thursday was really tough game for us, and Saturday I thought we bounced back, had some opportunities playing against I think USC is a very talented team. So hopefully we move in the right direction heading in this week with Utah and Colorado coming in here.
Jamie Bennett, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Seems like we've asked this every week now for a while, but an update on DJ and Ryan?
Closer. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Closer.
And then is everyone else good to go? I know you've had some guys nicked up here and there, but do you expect to have everyone else available for Thursday?
I think so. I can't think outside of Jefferson. I think we're close. We're getting close. If everything stays the course, I think by next week we should be okay. Should be up to speed, but long process to get them back in shape and all that stuff. So, hey, we're not the only one to deal with this stuff, but it'd be nice to have everybody.
Utah is kind of a unique situation this year. Under Kristoviak, they've always been just super, super big, but they really only have three big guys, Yantanen, Batten, and Carlson, and Batten's more of a stretch than anything. Does it change the way you approach when you see a team like that really has three posts, a bunch of guards, and, the posts seem to stretch the floor a little more than usual?
Yeah, no, they're I think they're trying to be more like even play like UCLA a little bit because the emergence of the Pelle Larsson, the freshman from Sweden, who I think is kind of forcing their hand to kind of play smaller, play him and Allen at forwards, and he's kind of a point forward or point guard, and you already have Rylan Jones, you've got Plummer, they got a lot, so their perimeter guys are pretty good, and they can spread you out, and I think Allen's probably averaging close to 20 or whatever he's doing this thing, so they're a little different that way, but they still can play big because Carlson's a good rim protector. Yatinen, wherever the Finn, he really bothered. He's a really efficient player, and then Batten's a nice inside out, experienced guy. He can do both. So I think they're pretty fluid and could play both ways really, but don't have as much depth. Probably right as they normally would. They usually have another. Oh, they got the Senegalese kid, Lahout or whatever. So they got. He's pretty big. He just says whatever. They can go big if they need to.
You mentioned Rylan Jones. He gave you guys a lot of problems last year. I think he had 24 on 8 of 10 shooting. Hasn't had quite the effective offense of the year this year. I think he's only shooting 30-something from three. Does it make it a little tough to scout a guy like that what he can do firsthand, but, maybe when you watch the tape, he hasn't done that type of thing yet?
Yeah, no, I firmly believe that you'll have confidence. If you had success somewhere against someone, you'll feel better. So we'll treat him as such. That I think he's a good player. I think some of that is them squeezing in Larson in there, and he's made him more balanced. Last year they played Ryland's a big part of their offensive attack, really just against us, especially just put him in pick and rolls, and he really carved us up at their place. So and he can shoot. He's got a great feel. Coach's son. So I will anticipate him being that. And that way, that's the guy we remember. Let's put it that way.
And then Timmy Allen's obviously, you mentioned he's their star. He's averaging, I think it's 17 and 5. But he's kind of a matchup nightmare. He's probably too quick for a lot of posts, too big for a lot of guards. How do you approach someone like him?
That's great. He's a little like Jaquez, and he doesn't necessarily shoot the three as often, or probably the same deal, similar size, going to mismatch problem for a big four. He's going to try to put on the floor and drive by him, and he's going to post your small one. So we have to have a lot of different ways to guard him, whether it's FA, Tony, Jazz, just some different guys that'll have to give him different looks because he will figure out. They'll sniff it out what's their best way to go. And I think we started Jazz out there last year specifically because we thought that was I think Jazz did a pretty good job on him first half for sure. I haven't watched that film yet, but just give him different looks. I know you got to have both size and so a guy that has size and can move is helpful.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Ryan Root, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. With Bonds on sort of a hot streak as of right now on offense these past couple of games, have you almost sort of approached him to see how his hot streak can further help this team get back into the win column?
No, I treat him like a pitcher throwing a no. Just let that go. Let me. I'm not going to get underneath the hood there when you're playing that well. And the winning part is we're not defending well enough, and we'll address that to a man. And we just got to get there. And some of it's our young guys on the road don't know what to expect, and coming off the bench and developing that depth. And we have to give Isaac and Noah. Noah's been hurt too. We need to be able to have confidence and rest in them more, so we're more competitive on the perimeter defensively. But no, I haven't addressed it. Just I sit back and until it needs to be addressed. But he's making really good decisions. He's playing with a really good pace, good poise. I do think probably could get him. Miles did a good job backing him up and kind of give him a spot him here and there. And probably needs about one or two more little mini blows, so late in the game he can, he's fresh.
Has this team sort of gone back to the basics this week in practice after having some trouble in the turnover and rebounding and kind of defending department?
Well, we because of the NCAA rules, we weren't allowed to practice yesterday because Sunday counted as a travel day and a practice day. So that's where we're going today. So we will definitely, it's when you're struggling in any area, it's always get back to basics. It's keep it simple, stupid. It's written on my wall. So whenever you're trying to look for multiple solutions, it's usually fundamental. And for us, it's about competing hard, not getting pushed around, keeping the ball in front of us, and making people miss. Got to make them miss, then they get off the board.
As of right now, after playing so many games, mostly at home and now on the road after your first road trip, what freshman in this class has impressed you the most so far this season?
Yeah, on our team?
Yeah, on your team. Yeah.
Okay. I'd say FA's been, obviously he's the one that jumped out early and he's gone through the expected, he's higher up on the scout. People are sitting on him, and he bounced back at that really well against USC. Andre, same thing. He had a really good game against Arizona, a really good game at Stanford, but he's a little down this weekend. And then Deshaun had a really, he's probably from where he came from as far as he missed the first 2 months, wasn't cleared to play. And so he's a little behind, but his performance against USC, him and Isaac were our two best players, and him going, just being so assertive against the Mobleys, not intimidated at all, and played really well. That was a really bright spot for us. So they've all had their shining moments, and hopefully they keep working at it. You don't know how the freshmen, which direction. Sometimes they take off, and sometimes they hit the wall, and it's most of the time a little bit of both. So we'll keep developing them.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Theo Lawson, go ahead.
Yeah, the Colorado game isn't until Saturday, but you guys obviously get them back to back with Saturday and Pullman and Wednesday and Boulder. What's allowed Colorado to play so well as of late and really kind of crush preseason expectations? I believe that they were 7th in the conference the preseason. I think they're up to 4th right now and on a 4-game win streak.
You know what? I think when you have a senior point guard like that, he can really carry you a long ways. And McKinley Wright is a guy that if he had gone in the draft last year, I don't think anyone would have been that shocked, but I also don't think he would have been a first-round pick either. I could be wrong. I don't think he would have been. But he probably looked at what Peyton Pritchard did and stayed at 4th year, and he's really seemed to take it. And it's hard when you're like junior, senior year. Like, you might not notice it just on a stat sheet or whatever, but you watch him play, like his confidence, his determination, his leadership. I think those all bode well for him. I think he's played himself into being an NBA point guard. I no doubt in my mind. So I think when you have one of those, an experienced one, everyone gets a little better. Plus, their grad transfer, I can't think of his name, the 4-man, he's been a bonus kid from Tulsa. Horn, maybe? I'm not sure. Getting old. And the freshman, Walker, has done a nice job where they're doing that. And then they're just experienced. They defend well coached, seasoned team. Like I think I said last year, I think Colorado's a good template for what what we need to be is like, as you don't fall off much. You might lose a guy like Tyler Bay, and but they got older, experienced guys, and they've done a nice job recruiting. So they're just very. There's no weaknesses there. There's no holes like, oh, Colorado can't do this, or they can do a little bit of everything, and then you have a really elite point guard.
What did your young guys learn about being on the road for the first time, maybe outside of the basketball aspect of things, as far as just the routine and other things that can help you guys before you go on the road next, I guess next week, Colorado?
I think of our 4 efforts. It's weird because it's COVID time, and there's not like we can't break away and go see a movie or together or walk on the beach even. It's just kind of all that stuff down there is a little weird. And enjoy LA, even something just to break up the road. But 3 of the 4 games, I'd say we competed pretty well. So it's learning to bring in. I think hopefully UCLA was an aberration. It was they played really well. We didn't have a response, and you can wipe that away and not make that habit forming. But 4 in a row is tough for a young team. You don't have a lot of practice time. But the mental preparation and be able to bounce back. And like I said, I think we played much better against SC. We gave them a lot of points. I gave them 2 off the technical foul. Noah did. We gave them too many opportunities that didn't require talent. They were mental stuff that we can fix and get better. But the effort was much better against a really talented team.
Is there still a home court advantage to be had, even without the presence of fans after playing 4 road games? Yeah.
Absolutely. I think there's actually been some study. I think it's probably 70% of what it is, or something like that, at least. I don't know if it's normally 4.5 point swing home versus road, then it's probably 3.5 point difference or something. That's what analytics are for, Theo. I probably should have that info handy, but I think anyone wants to sleep in their own bed, shoot on their rims, or they practice that stuff. I think I prefer to have people find a way to pull them and play them. It's always a tricky route here, especially in the winter. This winter's too mild. I'm rooting for I want more snow.
It's supposed to snow this weekend.
Yes, more snow. Let's go.
How do you kind of self-coach yourself when it comes to the technical fouls and then avoiding that in future instances? Do you talk to anyone, maybe your wife or other coaches or anything like that, or is it just kind of?
Usually, I'm never shocked when I get them, and usually I'd say 80% of the time I'm upset and I'm just trying to get their attention. I thought specifically the one, especially I thought they called a horrendous charge on Tony. It was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. I'm not allowed to say that or not. So I just wanted consistency on the Isaac took a charge and we didn't get any whistle. So I felt like that, hey, I just think our guys need to be represented well and just fighting for them a little bit. But I don't think it's ever helping. I mean, certainly I think I've been popped 4 times or so, and I need to get over myself and just concentrate on coaching the team.